General Hospital spoilers tease that Sidwell is facing an extremely dangerous and complex situation, where silent enemies, intertwining schemes, and mounting political and financial pressure are closing in on him. In the shadows of secret meetings, suggestive whispers, and tightly controlled information leaks, he increasingly feels the grip of isolation. Former allies have turned their backs, either bought off or threatened into abandoning their loyalty. Sidwell knows that if he continues to act alone, he'll quickly become the easiest target to eliminate in a fast-moving and brutal game of power. That's why he's urgently seeking a new ally, someone strong enough to counterbalance the rising forces seizing control, and wise enough to understand the bold move he's about to make. In an unexpected turn, Sidwell has quietly approached someone special, a figure thought to be long out of the power circle, but who holds undeniable strategic value. This person, once underestimated and pushed to the political sidelines, has now become the perfect hidden card. Sidwell personally arranged a discreet meeting, away from prying eyes, to make a powerful proposal. More than a simple alliance, it was a pact with the potential to shift the entire game. News of the meeting soon leaked, like a ticking time bomb in the halls of power. Those who sought to eliminate Sidwell were thrown into confusion. No one knew who he had joined forces with, or whether the new alliance might bring their plans crashing down. Rumors spread rapidly, each revealed detail further intensifying the already tense landscape. Tycoons began investigating. Rival corporations called emergency meetings. Senior advisors were asked to report hourly. A wave of suspicion, anxiety, and caution swept through every corner of the power system that once cast Sidwell aside. This unexpected move created a true earthquake. It was no longer a standard strategic negotiation, it was a seismic event that reshaped the entire board. What Sidwell brought to the table wasn't just power and influence. It was the promise of a dramatic comeback, a bold statement that he was far from defeated, but instead was quietly turning the tables in his own way. The story of this secret offer quickly became the center of hushed discussions, dramatic theories, and silent panic among the elites. Some believe Sidwell is gambling dangerously, staking his entire reputation and position on an uncertain deal. Others see it as classic Sidwell, a cunning fox who never backs down, even when surrounded. The truth is, the alliance Sidwell seeks is not just a strategic handshake. It's a declaration that he's ready to cross every boundary to protect his power. And the chosen person, that mysterious figure, is no ordinary pawn, but a knight capable of turning the game with a single move. While everyone watches closely and counterattacks are still being planned, Sidwell has already made a move no one anticipated. And now, with a deal forming in the shadows and an alliance about to go public, the world of power is bracing for a new shockwave, not from the fall of a titan, but from the stunning rise of someone thought to be cast out. Sidwell isn't just looking for an ally, he's redrawing the power map in a way only those willing to pay any price would dare. Sidwell is gradually establishing himself as a dangerous and calculating figure in the shadows, as he begins to clearly see that the best opportunity to take down Drew is by exploiting the current chaos within the power structure. At a time when instability is spreading across the tiers of influence in Port Charles, Sidwell realizes that attacking Drew isn't just personal revenge, it's also a sophisticated strategy to elevate his own position among the elites and underground groups manipulating the region's economy and security. Every move Sidwell makes is calculated, and now he has chosen the perfect time to initiate a new adjustment, a strategic shift he believes will change the entire game. While Drew is preoccupied with his personal issues, unaware that the confusion and instability around him are being weaponized, Sidwell approaches Nina and Jason, two key figures, each facing their own crises, from betrayed trust to fractured alliances. That's why Sidwell's offer is not just a simple deal, it's a lifeline. An opportunity for Nina and Jason to reclaim control over their fates, if they are willing to join and dive into the complex web of schemes Sidwell is weaving. Sidwell knows that Nina harbors deep emotional wounds regarding Drew, things never spoken but long simmering beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Jason struggles between two worlds, his loyalty to old values and the harsh reality forcing him to choose a side if he wants to survive. Sidwell doesn't pressure them. He presents the offer with the wisdom of someone who understands survival, either become allies, or be crushed under the relentless wheels of power. And at the heart of all these plots is Drew, the one Sidwell has identified as the weakest link in the current power system. But Sidwell's ambition goes beyond Drew. Beneath the surface of hostility and manipulation lies a greater goal, protecting the core assets of the Cassadine family, now under serious threat from opposing forces. Cassadine is not just a wealthy family, it's a symbol of power, tradition, and influence spanning generations. Somehow, Sidwell has gained partial control or sway over those assets. And he knows that losing them would mean not just financial loss, but total collapse of political influence and social standing. Thus, finding allies and eliminating Drew is only the beginning. Sidwell's true goal is to consolidate power to ensure that no one, not Drew, Carly, or any other force, can easily lay a hand on the Cassadine legacy. He's playing a high-risk game. But he understands that only those who dare to take big risks can truly change the world. And now, as he begins pulling Nina and Jason into his chessboard, a new storm is brewing, a chain of complications that no one will be able to fully control. With every step forward, Sidwell is making everyone uneasy. The offer to Nina and Jason isn't just a signal of alliance, it's a warning. Those who don't side with him may soon realize they picked the wrong side. And while all eyes are on the public showdowns among major powers, it's in the shadows where Sidwell quietly lays his traps that could soon shake all of Port Charles to its core. Sidwell is entering a new phase in his journey to expand influence and reshape the power structure in Port Charles, and this time, he's making his boldest move yet. Forming an alliance with Nicholas to protect Windmere from being sold. No one expected that Sidwell, who doesn't even carry the Cassadine bloodline, would be the only one sharp and determined enough to realize that if Windmere falls into someone else's hands, it won't just be a loss of property, but the complete collapse of a legacy built over generations. Windmere is not merely a castle, it is a fortress, a symbol of the Cassadine family's power, tradition, and mystery. At a time when trust in Nicholas is at an all-time low, following personal scandals, years of disappearance, and irreparable relationships, Sidwell doesn't see a fallen man. Instead, he sees a unique pawn that could become a queen if placed correctly. He sees someone who could bring him into the heart of a powerful legacy. As long as that person is willing to sacrifice what pride remains and join forces with the man everyone avoids. No one in the upper echelon expected Sidwell to be so far-sighted. But in their underestimation, he quietly reached out to Nicholas, not through official channels, not with legal documents or ownership transfers, just a discreet meeting. Where Sidwell made his intentions clear, preserve Windmere at all costs. In return, he would help Nicholas re-emerge with a completely new stature, not as the disgraced heir, but as the one reclaiming the Cassadine destiny through an unexpected alliance. From that moment, everything began to change. The procedures to sell Windmere were abruptly halted without explanation, sending those who had been eyeing the estate into panic and confusion. Banks, legal advisors, and brokers were unable to reach Nicholas or any authorized representative, and the Cassadine family offered no official statements, only deepening the mystery. In the silence, Sidwell quietly executed his plan, a plan not only to stop the sale but to gradually restore the Cassadine legacy through a new model in which he, an outsider, plays the role of architect behind every major decision. Nicholas, though initially skeptical and clouded by doubt, eventually realized that his return could not happen without a powerful, daring, and unexpected backing, one that would force all factions to reconsider Cassadine's position in the current power game. Once again, Sidwell proved that he was no ordinary player. He wasn't looking for one-off deals or short-term wins. What he wanted was a reset, a new system where those once dismissed and cast aside would return to take control. Windmere was only the beginning. By protecting the castle from those who sought to turn it into a commodity, Sidwell was sending a profound message to all of Port Charles. Traditional symbols can survive if placed in the hands of those ruthless and clever enough to preserve them at the right moment. Using Nicholas as the key, Sidwell is moving into the heart of a once feared, now fading dynasty. And just when everyone thought it was over, he lights the spark for a new vision, a new order in which he doesn't need to be Cassadine by blood, he only needs to know how to keep its soul alive. In a world where alliances can shift with a single phone call, the connection between Sidwell and Nicholas is becoming a simmering storm, ready to shake a decaying, vulnerable system to its core. This has already gone far beyond what anyone expected. What once seemed like a simple offer of cooperation has now become an audacious rebirth. Nicholas, once cast out by his own family, is being raised again by Sidwell, not with empty promises, but with decisive actions, halting the sale of Windmere, solidifying ownership, crushing all transfer schemes, and giving him a path back to the heart of power. Meanwhile, Sidwell gains not only a new strategic position but also slowly wins the trust of those who once saw him as a threat. No one can deny that the current shift is the result of Sidwell's sweeping vision. And if things continue along the path he's charting, it won't be long before everyone realizes a new era is dawning, one where Sidwell is no longer just the man behind the scenes, but the one rewriting the rules. Sidwell is slowly becoming a whole new chapter of control in a time of chaos, where power is splintered and loyalty is more fragile than ever. While other forces are still fumbling for direction after Sonny's sudden exit, a once irreplaceable figure in Port Charles's criminal world, Sidwell has already seized the opportunity, quietly building strategic alliances and charting a clear path toward claiming the power vacuum Sonny left behind. This isn't just ambition or reactive maneuvering, it's a meticulously crafted plan, executed with sophistication and driven by a desire for absolute control, not just over an organization, but over an entire collapsing system. The disorder following Sonny's retreat is not just a void, it's a rare opening for someone fast, ruthless, and visionary enough to rise to the center. Sidwell has proven he's not only aware of when to act, but he may be the only one bold enough to challenge the entire system Sonny built over decades. All the seemingly unrelated moves, his covert partnership with Nicholas to preserve Windmere, the veiled offer to Nina and Jason, are now revealed as pieces of a much larger strategy. To seize the entire system, take ownership of what remains of Sonny's empire, and reconstruct it in his own image. And as no one else has the strength to step into that void, Sidwell emerges from the shadows as the only name capable of filling it. What makes this plan so dangerous and audacious is the way Sidwell operates. He doesn't strike loudly. He doesn't use brute force like the old players did. Instead, he uses silence, widespread fear within the underworld, and the disarray among minor factions as levers of control. He isn't just a new player, he's the one rewriting the rules. Those once loyal to Sonny are beginning to waver. Old lieutenants feel their influence slipping, threatened by an unseen force slowly tightening its grip. And while the world debates who's worthy of replacing Sonny, Sidwell has already taken the helm, running transaction networks, buying off former loyalists, and laying the groundwork for a new empire that owes nothing to anyone's legacy but his own. But the true reason behind his boundless ambition isn't simply about personal power. Sidwell isn't doing this to feed his ego or prove a point. He's determined to secure a stable future for his family, a family that once lived in the shadows of the underworld, victims of constant power struggles. And he has resolved that no one will threaten their interests ever again. The control Sidwell is building isn't to dominate the system for himself, it's to create a fortress, a perimeter of protection where his family will never suffer again. Every negotiation, every compromise, every threat he makes is carried out with the unwavering conviction that if this world no longer has room for kindness, then it will have no choice but to bow to his will. The storm Sidwell is unleashing is not a mere shift in power, it's a total reset. With each passing day, the pressure he exerts grows stronger. His opponents are losing direction. The remaining factions, if they don't submit soon, will realize Sidwell is not just an option, he is the inevitability. And the craziest part is that no one ever imagined that someone like him, not born into the traditional criminal world, could dismantle decades-old systems with such terrifying calm and precision. Sidwell doesn't just want a seat at the table, he wants the whole room. And with each move, he proves that this game has entered an entirely new phase, where ruthlessness is no longer enough. Now, It's about intellect, long-term strategy, and an unexpected goal, securing absolute power for his own bloodline. And unless someone stops him soon, Port Charles will have to face an undeniable truth. Sidwell is no longer a shadow, he is the new master of the game. After a long period of hiding and tormenting himself over past mistakes, Nicholas is now preparing to return with a new, almost reckless form of control, a decision that goes beyond anything he has ever done before, one that teeters on the edge between the desire for power and the risk of complete loss of control. In the shadows of Windermere, the once ultimate symbol of the Cassadine family's dominance, Nicholas is slowly stepping out from under his own shadow. No longer the hunted, betrayed, and broken man. He is beginning to calculate a future in which he alone dictates the outcome, not just for himself, but for an entire crumbling system. And just as Nicholas prepares to take that step, a seismic secret begins to surface. Sidwell, the man quietly orchestrating every major faction, may in fact be the director of DVX, one of the most notorious Black Ops intelligence organizations, with enough influence to shake both governments and the criminal underworld. If this is true, then everything unfolding is not a series of coincidences but a masterplan long in the making, one involving deep infiltration into every level of power, corporate, political, criminal, and clandestine intelligence networks alike. Because if Sidwell is indeed the head of DVX, then what we're seeing is merely the tip of a massive iceberg, where every event, every death, every betrayal has been part of a larger strategy, designed to achieve total control over Port Charles, and potentially expand into the entire northeastern United States. This would explain why Sidwell's recent actions have been so precise, silent, and devastatingly effective, leaving no time for response. He is not merely a new player in the power game, he may be the one who built the board. Nicholas's decision to return at this moment is no coincidence. He has sensed the abnormal shifts, seen the movements in the dark, and now, even if it seems reckless, he knows that if he does not act, he may lose his last chance to reclaim any power. So, he chooses a high-risk move. To restructure the Cassadine legacy from the inside out, even if it means going head-to-head with Sidwell, the man who is beginning to assert control over Windermere through backdoor deals, dangerous alliances, and a strategy that merges political and financial domination. Nicholas, somehow, understands that unless he stops Sidwell now, everything that belongs to the Cassadine name will no longer be Cassadine, it will fall into the hands of a cold, ruthless shadow organization, willing to erase an entire bloodline to serve its imperial ambitions. The link between Sidwell's rising influence and DVX is starting to show through subtle signs, mysterious deaths, suspended property transfers, key figures who once served Sunny switching sides without explanation, and most alarmingly, the complete disappearance of high-ranking members of Port Charles's private security network. All signs point to a single command center, Sidwell. And if he truly is the director of DVX, then this is no longer a mere power struggle between families. It's a full-scale takeover, where Sidwell doesn't just want to rule Port Charles, but to turn it into a strategic stronghold for a longer, more dangerous plan that could threaten the very foundation of the society it rests on. Nicholas now faces a brutal reality. There is no time for doubt, no room for trust, and no one else left with the capability to stop Sidwell, except him. The one man who understands the darkness within the Cassadine family better than anyone. The one who has been both victim and perpetrator in deadly schemes. And now, the only one with enough motivation to fight for the bloodline he still calls his own. However, what makes the situation even more chaotic and dangerous is that Nicholas cannot be sure whether he's fighting for control, or walking straight into a trap that Sidwell has been weaving all along. With every one of Nicholas's potential moves already anticipated, Sidwell, meanwhile, remains eerily calm. He doesn't need to speak. He doesn't need to threaten. Because he knows true power lies not in shouting orders, but in making the world move according to your will before anyone even realizes it. What he's doing isn't just creating a threat, he's rebuilding an entire world. And every step he takes proves that Sidwell isn't merely a part of the story Port Charles is telling, he's the one rewriting the entire script, line by line, according to an order only he understands. And as Sidwell continues to expand his influence, as the whispers in the dark grow louder, as old alliances crumble and key figures vanish, one thing is clearer than ever. Sidwell is not just a man with ambition. He is the storm, and Port Charles is only beginning to feel the first winds.